Good day, class. In this video, we are going to discuss Lesson 1, Introduction to Computers and Programming. Our topics will be computer systems, hardware and software, programs and programming languages, history of C++, program structure and elements, input processing and output, and program development process. Computer systems and software. So let's talk about first the hardware. So what is hardware? Hardware is the physical component of a computer. So ito yung mga parts ng computer na tangible or touchable. Yung nahahawakan nyo, yung nakikita nyo, and yung nagagamit nyo. So ito yung mga main hardware components natin. No, una-una dyan yung CPU, Central Processing Unit. So ito yung hardware component na nagra-run ng mga program natin. Siya yung nag-execute ng mga instructions na binibigay ng user. So technically, CPU is the brain of the computer. Sa kanya lahat nanggagaling yung execution ng mga instructions or ng mga commands. So yung pangalawa naman ay main memory or yung tinatawag natin na RAM or Random Access Memory. So it holds both program instructions and data. So, main memory is temporary storage lang siya. So, bakit temporary? Lahat ng instructions or data na na-store kay main memory, kapag kinlose natin yung program, or kapag pinatay natin yung computer natin, all of those data will be erased. Wala na yun, no? Deleted na siya. So, magkakaroon na uli siya ng laman kapag meron na uling mga program na currently running or naka-open si laptop or si PC. No, hindi niya kayang mag-save ng mga data or instruction for a long time. So, we have secondary storage. No? So, dahil hindi kaya mag-store ni RAM ng maraming data or instructions, so we have secondary storage or devices like disk or CDs. So, it holds data when the program is not running or when the computer is turned off. So, itong si secondary storage ay permanent storage na siya. Kumbaga, pwede mo siyang lagyan ng mga data or even large files na kaya mong i-store even the computer is turned off. No? Pwede mo siyang lagyan ng mga files na kahit patayin mo yung laptop, pagbukas mo ng laptop, nandyan pa rin siya. No? Nakastay pa rin. So, dito kayo naglalagay madalas no, ng mga files nyo or mga K-drama nyo, no? Or any files na ginagamit nyo sa pang-araw-araw nyo mga buhay or for entertainment or for schools. No? Kaya secondary storage siya na pupunta. And then number 4, we have input devices such as mouse and keyboard. So it is used to send information to the computer from the outside. So ito naman yung mga devices na ginagamit natin para makapag-send ng command sa ating computer. For example, we want to display a text on our screen. So how are we going to do that? So we have to type something, no, using our keyboard. And then yung keyboard, no, na ginagamit natin, yun yung magsisend ba ng information kung ano ba yung tinatype natin and then ipaprocess, of course, ni CPU and then tsaka magdi-display sa ating screen. Ano ba yung tinatype natin? So same with mouse. No, but there are a lot of buttons on your screen. So, kung ano man yung i-click ni mouse mo doon, so yun yung ipaprocess ni CPU. Then, yun yung magpe-perform yung action. No? Naka-base on the mouse and on the keyboard yung mga commands na gustong iparating ba ni user. Those are input devices. So, what are output devices then? So, ang output devices naman, kung ang input devices no, ay nagsisend ng information, output devices naman nagre-release ng information, send back the information. So, ito is more on displaying data or printing data. Yan. Halimbawa niyan ay monitors and printers. So, pag output, kung ano yung command mo, and then nagkaroon na action na process na ni CPU, makikita natin yung output on the screen, no, on your monitor. Or halimbawa meron kang gustong i-print on a hard copy. So makikita natin yung output nun on a printer. And then we have communication devices. So itong mga devices na to, these are hardware that we use to connect to interconnect with other devices naman. For example, we have to send data on other computer, no? So, gagamit na tayo dun ng iba-ibang mga network devices such as modems or network interface cards uh, or mga cables na to connect with different computers. So, these are the main hardware component categories natin. Central Processing Unit or CPU is the hardware component that runs programs. So, technically, it is the computer's brain and it retrieves instructions from memory that executes them. So, itong si CPU ay makikita dito. Ayan, dito. Under the fan. Nasa motherboard. No? Nasa motherboard. Yung motherboard nasa loob ng system unit. So, ang common na pagkakaintindi natin, no, yung malaking ganun, no, yung box na kasama ng PC natin, whether sa school or sa bahay, if you have home PC, CPU ang tawag natin doon. No, that's not CPU. That's system unit. Sa loob ni system unit, merong motherboard. Kay motherboard, merong CPU. CPU ay ito lang. No? Yung maliit na processor under that fan. That is CPU or Central Processing Unit. Yes, maliit siya. No? Pero, siya yung magpapagana sa lahat ng mga processes sa computer natin. No? Ganun ka-powerful si CPU. So, kaya siya may fan kasi siya yung umiinit siya, no? Kasi nga marami siyang pinaprocess. So, CPU is divided into two components. So, what are these components? Arithmetic and logic unit and control unit. Arithmetic and logic unit performs mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and logical operator comparisons. And then control unit retrieves and decodes program instruction coordinate computer operations. So when we say ALU, no, it performs any logical operations. Basta when it talks about calculations, si ALU yan. When it talks about the processes, no, or commands, so that is under control unit. So let's talk about the fetch, decode, and execute cycle. So it is a sequence of instructions stored in the computer's memory. So when a computer is running an application, the CPU is engaged in a process formally known as fetch, decode, and execute cycle. Paano nga ba nagpa-process ng instruction si CPU? No? Katulad sa atin, no, meron tayong mga protocol, meron tayong mga sinusunod na steps, no, meron tayong sinusunod na methods. So, same with our CPU. Or meron tayong sinusunod na cycle, no, para mas maayos yung daloy ba na execution ng instructions. Kaya merong fetch, decode, and execute cycle si processor. So, unahin natin si fetch. Ano ba si fetch? So, CPU's control unit fetches from main memory the next instruction in the sequence of program instructions. So, kasi lahat ng instructions na nagagaling sa user, sa atin naman galing yan, no? Lahat yun, ini-store muna kay main memory. No? Hindi pa siya directly pumupunta kay processor. Kay main memory muna. No? Hino-hold niya muna lahat ng instruction, lahat ng data na kailangan. Diba, pinindot ko si R. So, ang tendency, dapat ang output niyan, mag-display si R sa ating screen, right? No? So, yung instruction na pinindot ko si R, mag-i-store mo na yan kay main memory. Yun yung fetch. Kukunin ni CPU's control unit yung instruction na yon from main memory and then mapupunta na siya kay decode. No? The instruction is encoded in the form of number. The control unit decodes the instructions and generates an electronic signal. So, pag nakuha na siya, ni control unit, mag-generate na siya ng electronic signal gamit yung binary digit. All the instructions na naiintindihan ng machine, especially ng computer, are only composed of two numbers, only ones and zeros. Pag na-process na siya into electronic signal, tsaka na i-execute yung instruction na yon. The signal is routed to the appropriate component of the computer such as the ALU, a disk drive, or some other devices. The signal causes the component to operate. So, tsaka na siya mag-execute ng action na dahil pinindot natin si R, kailangan mag-display siya sa screen. Yun na yung execution. Paikot-ikot lang siya. So, let's proceed with how main memory works. All of our instructions or data are stored in the main memory, especially when the program is running or when the computer is running. And all those instructions, every single instructions has a unique memory address. No? Lahat yan unique memory address. For example, nag-encode ka ng character na C. No, meron yan kaakibat na unique address for that specific instruction. So, same with encoding with R, encoding with C, or encoding with different characters. No? And meron yang memory content na equivalent, no? In form of binary digits, 1 and 0. No? So a computer's memory consists of an ordered sequence of bytes for storing programs and as well as data. So it holds both program instructions and data, and it is volatile. No? Kanina nga katulad na sinabi ko, when you turn off the computer or when you terminate the program, all the data will be erased also. So wala na. No? Clear na uli si memory. So it is also called random access memory because the CPU can access data and instructions from any memory location. So kahit lang saang location siya nakalagay, okay lang. Kasi unique naman siya. No? Unique yung mga addresses. Every byte in the memory has a unique address shown in figure 1.4. So in this picture or in this figure, the address is used to locate the byte for storing and retrieving the data. Main memory, organization, unit of measures. So, meron tayong unit of measurement when it comes to main memory. So, the smallest piece of memory is called bit. So, bit stands for binary digit. So, it holds an electric charge. Positive is on and negative is off. So, technically, 1 is positive, 0 is negative. So, 8 consecutive bits is 1 byte. 8 consecutive bits is equivalent to 1 byte. There are millions of bytes of memory in a computer. Yan, so I know you're already familiar with byte. No? Meron tayong tinatawag na megabyte, kilobyte, gigabyte, terabyte. No? So yun na yung medyo malalaking units ng memory. Byte is 8 bits. Sa isang byte, merong 8 bits. So, meaning merong 8 na ones and zeros yan. No? And then, 1 kilobyte is equivalent to 1,024 bytes. So, similarly, 1 gigabyte is 1,024 MB. And 1 terabyte is 1,024 gigabytes. So, that's a lot of storage na, no? Malaki-laking storage niya, 1 terabyte, no? Marami ka na may lalagay na K-drama and movies dyan. And 1 terabyte is about the same amount of information of all the books in a large library. So, ganun kalaki na yung katambas niya. Or roughly, 1,610 CDs worth of data. And 1 petabyte, so may mas malaki pa, no? 1 petabyte is 1,024 terabyte. So 1 TB of data, if written all on DVDs, would create roughly 223,100 DVDs. Sobrang daming DVDs. No? A stack about 878 feet tall or a stack of CDs of a mile high. Indiana University is now building a storage system capable of holding petabytes of data. An exabyte or EB is 1,024 PB or petabyte, and zettabyte is 1,024 EB. Finally, a yottabyte is 1,024 CB. So when we say 1 gig or 1 terabyte, it's not exactly 1,000. No? It's not exactly 1,000 MB. It's 1,024. Yan. So let's talk about second storage. So second storage holds data when the program is not running or when the computer is turned off. So several forms of secondary storage are disk drive, can be mounted inside the computer or connected to an external port. Data is stored magnetically. Yan, optical drive or DVD drive, no? And then flash drive, and then input devices used to send information to the computer from the outside. Now, many devices can provide input such as keyboard, mouse, touchscreen, microphone. Now, even our headsets are considered as input devices. So, ano ini-input niya? Now, it inputs sounds to the computer. No? Scanner, digital camera, our webcam, or disk drive, or CD, or DVD, USB, flash drive, or anything na nagpapasok ng data sa ating computer, or even joystick, no? Output devices used to send information from the computer to the outside naman. No? Nagre-release naman ng data sa palabas. No? Many devices can be used for output such as a computer screen, printer, speakers, no? Para marinig natin yung sound, disk drive, CD or DVD recorder, and USB flash drive also. System software. So of course, pinag-aralan na natin yung hardware. So it's now time to know then yung mga softwares naman. No, why do we have to study softwares then? So unahin muna natin yung system software. So these are programs that manage the computer hardware and the application that run on the computer. No? So ito yung mga software na nagmamanage, no, sa mga applications na nag-run sa ating computer. Nagmamanage ng memory, nagmamanage ng disk natin, nagmamanage ng mga input devices, ng mga hardware natin, output devices, and so on. No? So ano yung best example ng mga system software? Siyempre, yung ating operating system. Sila yung ating middleware, no? So, operating system controls the operation of the computer, manages the connected devices and access to storage devices, and allows the program to run. Kumbaga, sa dami ng mga applications natin dito, meron silang pinaka-manager or merong pinaka-boss. So, that is our operating system, no? Na naka-install sa ating laptop. No? Siya yung nagmamanage ng lahat ng softwares natin dito, no? Mga system applications, ng hardware, ng software, ng memory natin, ng mga disk natin, and so on. So, depende sa inyong laptop kung ano yung ginagamit yung operating system. Pero ito yung mga halimbawa ng operating system. So, meron tayong Apple, or pang phone siya, smartphones. We call this Apple's iOS. So iOS is a popular operating system for smartphones. So it works on Apple hardware including iPhones and iPad tablets. And then we have Windows. Since 1985, Microsoft Windows has been in one form or another and remains the most common home and office software operating system. I think ito yung pinakamaraming gumagamit, no? Microsoft Windows. And then we have Apple's Mac OS running on Apple desktops as the successor of the popular operating system OS X. And then we have Linux. Now, kung familiar kayo sa Linux, Linux is an operating system which, like Unix, built under the development and distribution model of free and open source software. So, this is an open source software, no, Linux. Free siya. So let's discuss utility programs. Utility programs support programs that enhances computer operations. Katulad ng mga virus scanner, backup, data backup, or file compression. Ito yung mga ginagamit natin for maintenance ba ng ating mga computers. No? So if we want our computer to be virus-free, no, nag-install tayo ng mga virus scanner. No? Or if you want our data to be may backup or gusto nating maging safe yung ating mga data, yung ating PC, no, mag-i-install tayo ng mga applications na magpo-protect dun sa ating mga data, dun sa mga iniingatan nating files. And then software development tools is used by programmers to create software, compilers, or integrated development environments. So itong mga IDEs, ito na yung mga ginagamit natin, no, para makapag-program ng mga applications ng IDE. Yan yung mga software na ini-install natin like Dev C++ or JCreator or Visual Basic or any IDE na pwede natin gamitin para makapag-code tayo. So, software development tools. Then, application software. So, malamang sa PC nyo, ito yung pinakamaraming application na meron kayo. No? So, these are programs that make a computer useful for everyday tasks. Kasi ito yung mga ini-install nating software para magamit natin sa pang-araw-araw nating pamumuhay, no? Mga personal na pangailangan natin for studies or for entertainment or for business and so on. Halimbawa ng mga application software is Microsoft Word or Excel or PowerPoint or Photoshop or ano pang pwede natin gamitin, no? These are programs that people spend most of their time running on their computers. So, some example of application software are, Microsoft Word, word processing program, PowerPoint, presentation programs, spreadsheets, email, web browsers, and game programs. So now that we finished talking about softwares and hardwares, let's proceed with discussing programs and programming languages. So a program is a set of instructions a computer follows to perform a task. A programming language is a unique language used to create computer programs. I asked you before, are computers dumb? Technically, yes. Kasi ang sinusunod lang naman ng computer ay yung pinrogram na gawin niya. No? It only follows instructions. And what are those instructions? Those are programs. Programs na binuo ng programmer. So, paano niya binuo yung mga programs na yon? So, using programming languages. No? Computers are designed to follow instructions. No? Hindi naman yan makakilos na siya lang. No? They can't decide on their own. No? They need instructions. A computer program is a set of instructions that tells computer how to solve a problem or perform a task. Algorithm. So, kung mapapansin nyo, na merong mga numbers, na merong steps, may pagkakasunod-sunod, merong start, and merong end. So, sabi dito, sa step 1, display a message on the screen asking, how many hours did you work? Next step, hintayin si user na mag-enter ng number kung ilang oras nga ba siyang nagtrabaho. Kapag nag-enter na si user ng number, edi store na natin sa memory. Halimbawa, sinabi ni user na 8 hours ako nagtrabaho, edi may store kay memory 8 hours eh. And then step 3, pag nakuha na yung hours of work, display a message again on the screen asking, how much do you get paid per hour? Na magkano bayad sa'yo per hour? Step 4, wait for the user to enter an hourly pay rate. No, halimbawa, 100 ang per hour ng worker. So, once the user enters the number, store uli kay memory. So, dalawa na ay laman ni memory. No? Number of hours work, and then, how much ang bayad sa kanya per hour. And then, step 5, may calculation na. Now, multiply the number of hours by the amount paid per hour and store the result in memory. Anong gagawin doon sa mga data na i-store kay memory? No, i-multiply daw yung number of hours by amount of paid per hour. So, kung nagtatrabaho si worker ng 8 hours, tapos ang oras niya ay 100, so technically, 100 times 8. And then, yung sagot ay may store uli kay memory. So, that is 800. And then, for the last step, display a message on the screen that tells amount of money earned. The message must include the result of the calculation performed in the step 5. End of the process. No? So, malinaw. Malinaw yung proseso. Malinaw yung program. No? Na magtatanong muna siya, manghihingi muna ng data gathering muna, syempre. Data gathering, and then calculations, and then display of the result, display of the output. So this is an example of an algorithm. So let's talk about what is an algorithm. Algorithm is a set of well-defined steps of performing a task or solving a problem. So these steps are sequentially ordered. So when we say sequentially ordered, hindi pwedeng labo-labo lang na kung alin yung gusto mong mauna, yun na agad. Na gusto mo na agad mag-multiply. No? Hindi mo pwedeng unahin yung step 5 na hindi ka pa nakakapag-step 1. Ano yung multiply natin? Hindi ka pa nakahingi ng data. No? So, bakit mahalaga yung algorithm when it comes to programming? Bago tayo mag-jump into coding, kailangan alam natin yung process ng gagawin nating program. Ano ba dapat yung una nating gawin? Ano ba dapat yung unang mag-display? Ano ba dapat yung unang data na kunin natin? Ano ba dapat yung mga formulas or calculations na gagamitin natin? Ano yung mga di-display nating result? No? A simpleng algorithm. Bigyan ko kayo. Steps on how to make a coffee. Paano ba gumawa ng kape? No? Madali lang gumawa ng kape. Siyempre, step 1, magpakulo ka ng tubig. Step 2, pag mainit na yung tubig, no, kumuha ka ng kape, ng asukal, ng creamer. So, pag nakakuha ka na, no, ilagay mo yung asukal, kape, and yung creamer sa baso mo. No, pag nalagay mo na, hindi pwede mo na ilagay yung kakapakulo mong tubig. No? So, after nun, haluin mo lang siya, and then you already have coffee. No? Hindi mo pwedeng unahin na haluin mo agad, wala ka pang tubig na mainit. No? So, yun na, you already have your coffee. No? That is an example of algorithm. Ano pa? Kapag magigisa, no? Hindi mo na pwedeng unahing ilagay ang sibuyas at bawang nang wala ka pang mantika o nang hindi pa umiinit yung kawali. Or naglagay ka na agad ng mantika, sibuyas, bawang, wala ka pa palang apoy. No? So, merong steps. Lahat ng bagay merong process. Same with computer programming. No? Kaya importante na unahin natin muna yung algorithm or yung steps natin on how to perform a task or how to solve a problem bago tayo mag-conduct sa programming. No? Kailangan meron tayong plan. No? Hindi pwedeng sabak ng sabak lang, wala tayong plano. No? I-plot muna natin yung plan or yung steps na mga gagawin natin. Programming languages is a special language used to write the computer program. Kung tayo nga ay merong iba-ibang lingwahe, right? We have English, Filipino, we have Bisaya, Ilocano, Waray, no? Meron tayong Hanunuo, language. Now, we have a lot of language. So, same with programming languages. No? Meron tayong iba't ibang lingwahe. And we also have machine language. So, it is a set of built-in primitive instructions that are in a form of binary code. When we say binary code, these are digits that are composed of ones and zeros. The only digits that computer understands. No? That's why it is called a low-level language. Now, when we say high-level language, it is easily understood by human. So, ito yung mga high-level programming languages na ginagamit natin like C++, Java, Python, or Visual Basic. Why? Kasi bukod sa English siya, that is understandable by human. That is understandable by the programmer. Or sometimes na kahit ordinaryong tao. Kasi nga English eh. No? Naintindihan natin yung mga word na nakalagay doon. Pag low-level language, maintindihan ba natin yung ones and zeros na yan? Sometimes, oo. Pag pinag-aralan natin mabuti talaga, no? But actually, only machine can understand ones and zeros. Kaya lahat ng programming languages natin, pina-convert pa yan ng ating compiler into low-level language just for our computer to understand ano ba yung instruction na binibigay natin. Low-level language, it resembles numeric machine language of the computer more than natural language of humans. So, machine language or any language similar to machine language. Ayan. And high-level language naman, the language that people can write, read, and understand. So, high-level language na yung mga ginagamit nating languages ngayon. So, popular high-level programming languages. Meron tayong tinatawag na basic, beginner's all-purpose symbolic instruction code, Fortran, yan, formula translator, COBOL, common business-oriented language, Pascal, yung iba naabutan siguro to, Pascal, pero matagal na rin kasi siya. No, it is a structured general-purpose language designed primarily for teaching programming. And then C, yan, meron tayong tinatawag na C. Before C++, merong C. No, a structured general-purpose language developed at Bell Laboratories. C provides both high-level and low-level features. And then we have C++. Now, it offers an object-oriented features not founded in C. No? So, kumbaga, yung mga features na kulang kay C, dinagdag na kay C++. No? Kaya nga plus, no? Incrementation. Lahat ng mga features na wala kay C, nilagay na kay C++. No? Also invented in Bell Laboratories din. Pareho sila. And then we have C#, pronounced as C#. Ayan, a language invented by Microsoft for developing applications based on Microsoft Net platform. And then we have Java, an object-oriented language invented at Sun Microsystems. So Java may be used to develop programs run over the internet in a web browser. No, pwede kasi si Java sa browser. And then JavaScript. JavaScript can be used to write a small program that run in web pages. Despite its name, JavaScript is not related to Java. And then Python. Ayan, Python is a general-purpose language created in the early 1990s. It has become popular in both business and academic applications. So Pythons are very popular right now. No? And then Ruby, a general-purpose language that was created in the 1990s rather. It is increasingly becoming a popular language for programs that run on web servers. And in Visual Basic, it is a programming language and software development environment that allows programmers to create window-based applications quickly. So maganda to gamitin Visual Basic kasi makakapag-develop ka agad ng mga desktop applications. No, madali lang siya, drag and drop lang yung mga objects. Ayan, so let's talk about C language muna. So dahil nga merong mga features na wala kay C, gusto nilang idagdag ngayon doon. Pero ibang language na siya, no? Ibang programming languages na. Kaya tinawag nilang C with classes. No, C with classes was first implemented noong 1979. And then noong 1982, C with classes reference with manual publish. In the 1984, pinalitan na nila yung pangalan, no? Instead na C with classes, C++ na, no? C++, and plus stands for incrementation. Or ibig sabihin, improve, or nadagdagan, or improvise, no? Kasi mas marami na siyang bagong features. Object-oriented na siya. And then, 1985, it was commercially released, the first edition. So, nilabas na siya sa public. And then, 1989, release of C++ 2.0. 1997, C++ ISO standard release. Then 1998, the third edition of C++ got released. 2003, yan, C++ 3 got released, which contained major bug fixes of C++ 3 got released, which contained major bug fixes of C++ 98. And then 2009, C++ OX got released. 2011, C++ 11 got released, which was major revision. And then 2014, C++ 14 was released, which is small improvement on C++ 11. In 2017, C++ 17, and then 2018, dina-develop na nila yung C++ 20. No? So, mas matanda pa sa inyo yung C++. No? Mas matanda pa rin sa akin ang C++. Na matagal na siya, pero ngayon ginagamit pa rin. Ginagamit pa rin siya ng mga developers. And up until now, no, marami pa rin mga naghahanap ng mga C++ developers. Now, let's talk about program structure and elements. So, these are all common in any programming languages. Lahat sila merong program structure and elements. Here are the list of common elements that you will find in almost every language. So, first, keywords. Lahat ng programming languages are merong specific keywords. So, it is words that have a special meaning. So keywords may be only for an intended purpose, which are called reserved keywords. No, meron silang mga words na merong sariling function na din mo lang pwedeng gamitin, kaya hindi mo siya pwedeng gamitin as variable. Then, meron namang mga tinatawag na programmer-defined identifiers. Ito yung mga pangalan na binibigay ng programmer. Halimbawa, kailangan mo ng storage for a name or storage for number of hours or storage for salary, no? Gagawan mo yun ngayon ng variable. And then, yung variable na yun, lalagyan mo ng name, no? Sino maglalagay ng name? Ikaw, as programmer. Ikaw ang bahalang magpangalan. As long as you follow the rules when naming a variable or identifier. And then, operators. Lahat ng programming languages may operators. So, operators perform operations on one or more commands. So, ito na yung merong mga calculations. No? Merong addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, greater than, less than, etc. Punctuations, no? Kung sa English nga, meron tayong mga punctuations. Of course, we also have here in computer programming because we're talking about language din, no? Punctuation characters mark the beginning or end of a statement or separate items in a list. And then syntax, rules to be followed when constructing a program. So just like what I've said, it's like studying a language, no? Syntax is like a grammar, no? Kapag nagsusulat tayo ng codes, no, kailangan tama din yung grammar natin. Tama yung syntax natin. Kasi hindi siya mako-compile ng compiler natin and mas lalong hindi maintindihan ng computer natin yung program natin kung sa syntax pa lang, mali na tayo. May error na. Kaya meron tayong tinatawag na syntax error eh. Even calculator, if it cannot understand what you are typing on the calculator, no, naglalabas siya ng syntax error. Bakit? Kasi mali yung construction mo. Bakit nauna yung times bago mo nilagay yung number? O doon pa lang agad mali na. No? Mali agad yung grammar mo. Mali agad yung syntax. Bakit inuna mo agad ilagay yung equal bago ka naglagay ng operation? Bago ka naglagay ng numbers. So, mali agad, no, yung structure. That will cause errors. No? Kaya kailangan maayos agad yung structure natin, no, ng paglalagay ng mga program, ng codes. Sample program, ayan, example. So, this program calculates employee summary. Ito yung sample kanina. Di ba kanina meron tayong algorithm? Kumbaga, nakita na natin, wala pa tayong code kanina, pero nakita na natin yung flow ng program natin. So, dahil nakita na natin yung flow ng program natin, ilipat na natin sa code. No? So, first, maglalagay tayo ng include directive, include IOStream, using namespace std, and then int main, the main function, and then, yan, lagay tayo ng tatlong variable to store number of hours, rate, and salary. And then, unang step kanina, di ba? Pag-display ng question on the screen. How many hours did you work? So, nag-display nga tayo. We have cout. And then, mag-i-input si user. Kung ilang oras nga ba siya nagtrabaho. Kaya merong cin. Saan may i-store ngayon yon? Sabi natin sa memory. Pero, sa memory siya may i-store, pero kailangan pa rin natin ng storage na ikaw ang nag-declare. No? That's why we have to declare a variable named hours. And then, sabi doon sa next instruction natin, tanungin mo ulit si user, how much do you get paid per hour? No? Magkano ba ang bayad sa'yo kada oras? So, hintayin ulit natin mag-input si user. And then, yung sagot ni user, kailangan i-store ulit natin sa memory. So, we have to add another storage. We have to add another variable named rate. And then, next step, sabi, pag kompleto na yung data natin, pwede na tayong mag-compute. No? I-compute daw natin. I-multiply daw si R at si rate para malaman natin yung salary ng user or ng worker. So, gagawa tayo ng formula, gumawa tayo ng formula, and then yung sagot ay store natin kay salary. No? I-store kasi daw natin sa, sa memory Pero kailangan natin ng variable. Kaya meron tayong salary is equal to hours times rate. And then, pag nakuha na natin yung sagot, i-display na natin yung sagot. No? So, see out uli to display the answer. You have earned kung ano man yung sagot para makita ni user kung ilan nga ba sasahurin niya. No? And then, return 0. End of program. So, this is a sample program based on the algorithm na meron kanina. Input, processing, and output. So, 3 steps that many programs performed. Gather input data from keyboard or mouse or files on disk drives. Process the input data. A program usually processes it in some manner. Output the results of the processing and send it to the screen or a printer to write it to a file. Program development process. The program development process. The programming development process includes creating and modifying source code, compiling, linking, and executing programs, and consists of several steps, which include design, creation, testing, and debugging of activities. No? So, parang bahay lang yan. No? Bago ka gumawa ng program, you have to create a design. You have to create a plan. No? You have to visualize ano ba yung gagawin mong program. And you have to craft a flow. Ano ba yung magiging flow? Ano ba yung mga pagiging steps, no, ng program mo? So, unahin na natin. Clearly define what the program is to do. So, this step requires that you identify the purpose of the program, the information that is to be input, the processing that is to take place, and the desired output. Alamin mo muna, syempre, bakit kailangan mong gawin tong program na to? Sino gusto mong tulungan? Ano yung sinusolve niyang problem? Makakatulong ba tong program mo? Kung makakatulong siya, ano yung makakailangan mong data? No? Paano mo gagawin to? Ano yung mga process? And ano yung mga inaasahan mong magiging output? And then, step 2, visualize the program running on your computer. No? Imagine what the computer screen will look like while the program is running. So, parang bubuo ka ng storyboard. Ano ba yung nabivisualize mo magiging itsura ng program mo? No? Ganito ba yung kulay niya? May logo ba sa taas? No? Ano ba yung magiging itsura ng text box, ng text field? Ano ba yung unang magdi-display sa screen? Anong susunod na magdi-display sa screen? Use design tools such as hierarchy chart, flowchart, or pseudocode to create a model of the program. So, meron tayong mga design tools na pwede mong gamitin no, para ma-visualize mo yung flow ng gagawin mong program. Yan, meron tayong tinatawag na hierarchy chart. Pwede nyo siyang gawin. No, it is a diagram that graphically depicts the structure of a program. So, it has boxes that represent each step in the program. So, ang hierarchy chart kasi, no, inuuna niya yung pinaka mga malalaking task. Yung mga malalaking functions ng program mo and then, tsaka niya nire-refine or hinahati-hati sa mas maliliit pang mga task. No? Halimbawa, ito. Gamitin pa rin natin yung example kanina. Simula pa sa algorithm, simula pa doon sa example kong C++. Ang pinaka-main function ng program kanina is to calculate the gross pay. Gusto lang naman nating malaman talaga kung ilan na sasahurin niya. Kaya tayo nagtatanong ng oras, ang trabaho niya, kaya tayo nagtatanong ng magkano ang sahod niya per hour, kasi gusto natin malaman kung ilan na sasahurin niya. And then, kailangan nating malaman ano yung mga steps para makuha natin kung ilan nga yung sasahurin niya. So, these are the steps. Get the payroll data from user, and then multiply hours, work by pay rate, and then display the gross pay. So, paano natin makukuha ngayon yung payroll niya? Adi, tanungin natin yung user, no? Read number of hours work and also read the hourly pay rate. So, kung mapapansin nyo, nagsimula tayo sa pinaka-main function or main purpose ng program and then chinap natin sa tatlong major steps, no? And then, chinap pa uli natin sa mas maliliit na subtasks. That is hierarchy chart. Or, you can also use this flow chart. So, kahit hindi sa programming, this is very useful. Especially when you are explaining a procedure or a step. No, pwede nyo nga ilagay yung yung algorithm on how to make a coffee. No? Anong unang step? Anong pangalawang step? No? Pag kumukulo na yung tubig, pwede na bang tanggalin? Oh. Ibig sabihin, pwede na. Pwede na ibuhos sa kape. Paano pag hindi pa? So, hintayin mo hanggang kumulo. No? Mga ganon. A flow chart is a diagram that shows the logical flow of a program. So, it is a useful tool for planning each operation a program performs in order in which the operations are to occur. So, hindi lang basta shapes. No, these shapes has meaning. No, meron yung mga meaning. Pseudocode is a cross between human language and a programming language. So, para kang nagsusulat na ng code na parang hindi. No, parang kang nagsusulat ng algorithm actually. Sinusulat mo yung steps, pero in a form similar to a programming language na. So, parang ganito. First step, get payroll data. Next step, calculate gross salary. Next, display gross salary. Ito yung major steps, di ba? Tatlo. Detailed pseudocode. Display, how many hours did you work? So, mag-i-input ng hours. Display, how much do you get paid per hour? Input rate. And then, dito na papasok yung calculation, and then display. So, ito lang yung mga steps na kailangan mo para makompute mo yung salary ng isang worker. Ayan. So, babalikan natin yung tatlo. Yan, we have hierarchy chart, flow chart, and pseudocode. Ano yung pinakamadali sa inyong tatlo? It's up to you. No, basta yun yung mga pwede natin gamitin na to model a program. Program development cycle, ito na yung process or yung cycle when we are already coding. No, ano yung first step? Siyempre, you need an IDE or an integrated development environment or an editor to write your source code. So, in our case, we are using C++, kaya ang gagamitin natin ay Dev C++ or kapag naka-phone kayo, SoloLearn or CXX Droid. So, meron na kayo agad editor. And then, compile a program using a compiler. So, may compiler na rin naman siya. And then, link a program using a linker and execute the program to get the output. In program development, the C++ compiler command performs 3 tasks in sequence. Na unang-una, pre-processing, compiling, and linking. So, ano yung preprocessor? The program that processes a source file before it is passed down to the compiler, and the processor processes the directives. So, kaya kung mapapansin nyo, meron tayo include IOStream sa C++, no? Kasi ito yung directive na nagsasabi sa compiler na magsama ng package or ng library or ng any import na pwede nating ipasok sa program natin. And then, next naman ay compiler. Halimbawa, nag-code ka na. Halimbawa, kinode mo nga siya yung kung paano mag-compute ng salary ng isang worker. No? Paano naiintindihan ng computer yon? Actually, yung mga pinagtatype mo, kung direct mo ipapaintindi sa computer, hindi niya maintindihan yon because it only understands 1 and zeros only. So, anong gagawin? You need to have a compiler. So, how does compiler works? No? It translates your intermediate file into a machine code file. Now, it translates your codes, your program, into a language that machine can understand. Now, ginagawa niyang low level, yung high level language na ginamit mo para maintindihan ng computer na ang gusto mo palang ipagawa ay mag-compute ng salary. No? And then linker, it links the machine code file with supporting library files to form an executable file. So on Windows, the machine code file is stored on disk with an object extension, and executable files are stored with an exe extension. So kapag meron ka ng exe extension or may nagdi-display na window dyan na maliit, no, na parang CMD, so yun na yung output. No, nabasa na ni compiler. Nabasa na-process na yung iyong program, and then yun na yung output. No? Kaya niya nang mag-compute ng salary ni worker. So, pag hindi nag-run, it's either may error ka, no? Ayusin mo muna yung error mo kasi hindi yan mako-compile ng compiler hanggat may error. I-debug mo muna. Yan. So, ito naman, integrated development environment, IDE. Ito yung mga application na ginagamit natin to code, no? These environments consist of a text editor, compiler, debugger, and other utilities or other extensions, lahat-lahat na kailangan natin nandito sa application na to just for us to code, no? Para makapag-program tayo. Isang package na siya with a single set of menus. So, in our case, ang ginagamit natin na IDE is Dev C++. Ayun, so that would be all. Thank you very much.